Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. I understand the use of analytics in baseball. I also understand gut feelings in baseball. Last night, both were on display in the ninth inning of the Indians' 1-0 loss to the Texas Rangers. Down by one with Jose Ramirez on second, Tyler Naquin gave up an out and bunted Ramirez over to third. If I'm a Texas Ranger or a fan, I'd have been pretty happy about that, knowing if everything goes right analytically, the best the Tribe could do would be tie the game and send it into extra innings. The worst-case scenario happened. They didn't score and the game was over. There were a million things that could have happened, including a hit by Naquin, at which time a bunt might have been in order for the winning run. Boston's Terry Francona and the Terry Francona who was here in his first 5 years wouldn't have called for a bunt. Far be it for me to question a Hall of Fame manager like Francona, but I would never have let it up for the batter to make that decision. That's a bad use of analytics. Bud Shaw is here tonight. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into its 23rd year, soon to be 24th, and seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Bud Shaw, the spin master, is here tonight. Start spinning. Start spreading the word.
Apparently, it's just the three of us tonight, Les. Me, you, and Colin-Cowherd. I saw him looking over your shoulder
over my
there
shoulder.
on that last shot.
There he is.
Yeah. He's making sure you mind your P's and Q's.
Here I am at the Bates Hotel. Anything to worry about here?
No, I think you're fine.
Nothing to look at here.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right, where do you want to begin? We got so much.
Let's start with Colin-Cowherd.
All right.
All right?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right, so
No. Let's do something first.
Okay.
Let's do what the Indians did first with their social media, because they knew Colin-Cowherd would get on Baker-Mayfield's tail for what he did.
Well, the Indians have world-class Twitter feed.
Right.
We've known that for a while now. And this was hilarious, given what we saw of Baker-Mayfield at Progressive Field that night, which was a guy flipping him a beer, and he shoots it, as we used to say back in college.
You never said that.
Yeah, we did, occasionally. But we usually use the can opener. I'm not sure I would want to be his dentist now.
Does he know Joe Charbonneau?
Didn't Joe used to use his eye socket?
Yeah, well, yes, they said he did.
Well, he's credited
with doing it, whether he did inside joke
did
there.
You ever see it?
No, his eye socket or him doing it?
I'm sure you saw his eye socket occasionally.
No, I know Joe.
Did he used to bite the bottle tops off?
Yeah, I think he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this was similar to that, and the Indians, of course, had fun with how Colin-Cowherd would have criticized him, since he always seems to find something about Baker that he doesn't think is quite right.
Okay, I don't know.
Sure enough, he did find something about.
I don't know how many people in Cleveland listen to Colin-Cowherd, but many more listen to him today than they did, say, 6 months ago.
I'm sure,
which I believe was the object of that game.
Might be. You know, I think he's actually very good, and I think he's got pretty interesting takes at times. I don't think this one about Baker-Mayfield is necessarily his best thread.
No, but he's somewhere along the line, the Browns will lose a game or 6, and Baker-Mayfield will throw an interception or 2. And so Colin-Cowherd can always be right somewhere in the 16-game schedule.
Yeah, well, he'll say, see that? You know,
I told you.
These guys are the biggest frat party in the NFL. And I don't think based on one thing. First of all, Baker-Mayfield knew he was going to be on TV, right?
Sure.
So he was playing to the crowd. He was trying to do something to rally the Indians, which he ended up actually doing.
Yeah, it was nothing, and then they scored 5.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it was, you could, if you wanted to get real serious about it, you'd say, where was the little fine print under there that said, please drink responsibly, you know? But
kids do not try this at home.
Yeah, but I think we all know that he was doing that as a kind of as a joke.
Isn't it kind of a new thing to do? And I mean,
yes.
You see, mostly linemen do it.
Yeah, there were guys during the Milwaukee Bucks playoff series. One of the Packers did it. Aaron Rodgers, I think, decided he shouldn't do it or wouldn't do it. So it's all in fun. I thought Freddie-Kitchens had kind of an appropriate response to it. He didn't take it too seriously.
Speaking of Freddie-Kitchens, is he overly taking on Bob Wiley here?
Well, in my ad-lib opening comment, I actually
that's up here on the wall.
I actually discussed that, the Bob Wiley part of it.
Yeah.
I thought there was a couple of interesting things. I thought the way Freddie turned that conversation, which was these guys who were here last year still think it's about the coaches, it's about the players.
Right.
And that's what that's sort of what Freddie-Kitchens is selling his regime on, that it's going to be about the players and making them better, and no ego in the coach's office and all that stuff.
No, but Freddie said he's a family man, he's a good guy, I'm not going to say anything. Oh, one more thing here.
Yeah, it was a little passive-aggressive, right? I'm not going to talk about it, he's a family man. I visited him in the hospital last year, but, I also had a chance to hire him, and I didn't, So,
we saw a side of Freddie-Kitchens. Do you like that new side? Or?
Well, I kind of like the fact that he's come back. He's mentioned it once or twice now that he said, hey, I'm not going to lie to you guys, so I'm going to try to answer your questions as honestly as possible. And I think we could tell through that answer that, he was a little perturbed by it.
Yeah, there's a little different Freddie-Kitchens than we've seen before. When he says that he doesn't know this, and we'll talk about it in a few minutes, that he doesn't know how long everybody will play, do you think he means that, or do you think he doesn't have an idea
Yeah, I mean,
yet?
I don't see any motivation or any reason why. What's the incentive to not announcing it? You're trying to keep the Redskins off guard in the first exhibition game?
All the preparation they've done.
So I think it's probably that they have coaches meetings tonight. They'll probably sit down. They'll talk about who's been dinged at practice and decide from there. But I would be really surprised, Les, if they didn't play the starters for a couple of series, and depending on how those series go, maybe even the first quarter if those series are short for whatever reason. It would seem to go against everything that
You mean as a punishment?
No, not punishment.
Okay.
It seemed to go against everything that, if he doesn't, it would seem to go against everything that he's talked about, which is wanting these guys to be out there and practicing every day and not riding stationary bikes. And it'd seem a little odd to me to get to the exhibition season and say, okay, now we're not going to play our
let's
guys.
ease off here. All right, you alluded to the fact you might have a commentary.
Yeah, I think.
Well, let's hear it. With a commentary, here's Bud Shaw.
Oh, thanks, Les. Former Browns offensive line coach Bob Wiley says GM John Dorsey didn't want to hire Greg Williams because Williams was too strong-willed. It makes it sound as if Freddie-Kitchens got the job because of his ability to get along better, especially with Baker-Mayfield. Wiley, remember, was a Hugh Jackson guy, and it's hard to tell what the motivation was behind his comments or Dorsey's motivation in hiring Kitchens, for that matter. I'll only say this: Williams' grandstanding reputation probably didn't help him, especially on the heels of a head coach who showed in Hard Knocks how much he liked to posture to the cameras. Dorsey's only responsibility was to get it right, and replacing dysfunction with harmony is one step toward doing that. Not a small one either. If Dorsey hired a lesser coach for the sake of getting along, though, that's not smart. And one thing we can say by now is we haven't seen much evidence of Dorsey being dumb.
Well, there's no question about that, but I don't think any fans knew who Bob Wiley was until Hard Knocks came along.
Not until Hard Knocks.
And he was sensational in Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
But his point that, well, Freddie and Dorsey got along together, why is that a bad thing?
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. And I mean, I was told during that whole process that Greg Williams had no chance of getting that job.
Right. That's why they got him in first one and got him out.
And it was out of courtesy. They interviewed him, but his personality, not just with Dorsey, but just his personality in general, I don't think they wanted to get tied to that for 3 or 4 years.
And by the way, wasn't that personality he put on at the end, now that we've seen it, that was not him. That was not the real guy.
Yeah, that was the other Greg Williams who was trying to get a head coaching job.
Right.
We know, what kind of a showman he is, and the way he feels the need to scream and bark and make himself, puff himself up. And I think Dorsey was just like, we just saw that with Hugh Jackson in some ways, and we don't want to see it again.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-les-levine@gmail.com. Bud Shaw is with us. Jeff Shadell will be here tomorrow night. And Thursday, big doings here because betting on football games start in the state of Pennsylvania. We'll have Dave Bacon out at Presque Isle. We'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. But I want to tell you about Tri-C. You can explore your interests and find a program that puts you in the path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu to find out more. I mentioned Presque Isle, that's in Erie. It's 20 miles from the Ohio border, and you can go there for the ribbon-cutting ceremony. That'll be at 4 p.m. on Thursday. Dave Bacon will be there, and between 4 and 5, Hanford Dixon of the Browns, Lewis Lips of the Steelers, Omar Marino of the Pirates. They'll all be there, and it comes your way this Thursday from Presque Isle at Downs End Casino, and we'll do our show from our worldwide headquarters here, and Dave Bacon will join us from Presque Isle in Erie, Pennsylvania. The grand opening celebration being planned for Thursday, August 8th, 4 o'clock, which is the official start date of the NFL preseason games, and of course, the Browns get underway. That's a 7:30 start, right, for the Browns?
Yes, it is.
All right, 216-575-0403 is our number. Bud Shaw with us. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. We'll take a look at the unofficial depth chart for the Cleveland Browns as they get ready for exhibition game number 1. More Sports and Les-Levine continues in a moment, exclusively on cleveland.com.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Let's check out birthdays for today. Hank Iba, generally credited with losing the game against the CCCP, the USSR basketball team. Hank Iba, why he was coaching that team is one of the great mysteries of all time in sports.
Yeah, I forgot he was.
Yeah, Andy Messersmith, born on this date. Paige Turner, 1947. Dale Ellis, David Robinson, and Kareem-Hunt. Don't take him out for his birthday. Just make sure he stays home and enjoy some TV.
Can I tell you something that just jogged my memory?
Yeah.
A name up there, Andy Messersmith.
Right.
Do you remember him?
Sure.
Okay, pitched for the Braves.
Yes, he did.
He was the guy that when Ted Turner signed him,
Right.
he wanted to make sure he got his money out of that signing.
Number 17.
So we put Channel 17 on the back of Messersmith's jersey.
Which is TNT. Well, what was it then?
I think it was TBS at the time.
TBS at the time.
And I believe the commissioner, who I think may have been Bowie Kuhn,
Right.
stepped in and said, you cannot have that. You can't advertise on uniforms. It has to be the player's name.
Is it correct that Charlie Finley wanted to change the names officially of like Catfish Hunter to Catfish?
I wouldn't doubt it at all. Hey, that's just like MLB Player Weekend, right? He was way ahead of his time. He wanted to put the nicknames on the uniforms.
Absolutely. Time for a How Come Quickie. How come you can tune a piano but you cannot tune a fish? Any idea?
I heard laughing, I think, from our studio audience.
No, you didn't. Our studio audience is under strict orders not to say anything. 216-575-0403. Mr. Gullible has been emailing me from all over the country. He's on a baseball stadium tour.
Oh, he is.
And he's out in, I think, Seattle tonight, and he's sending me as many How Come Quickies as he can from different sources on the on his map.
He may need to reassess his priorities. That's just my judgment.
He's not watching tonight. I have a thought about him.
Oh, now that he's not watching.
You know, I'm doing radio Friday and Thursday and Friday on 92.3 The Fan.
Yeah.
I think it's possible Mr. Gullible might be the I man. I don't know that. I'm not sure, but there is.
Can we get a some voice recognition analysis in here?
I suppose we could. What, to face it up against the I man? 216-575-0403 is the number. Email us during the show at real-les-levine@gmail.com. All right, let's check out the Browns' unofficial depth chart. Do they have to put out a depth chart, or is this...
They must, because teams all around the league did it.
Right.
And as soon as they did it, like in Washington, for instance, which comes in here Thursday, Colt McCoy was listed as a starting quarterback. They also have Case Keenum, and we know they have Dwayne Haskins.
Right.
And
is Haskins second or third on that?
I can't remember where he was on that, but Gruden was quick to say it didn't mean anything. And I would think, though, this depth chart of quarterbacks does mean something.
Okay, so Baker-Mayfield,
I think
Drew
Mayfield
Stanton.
has successfully beaten out Drew Stanton and Garrett Gilbert in this camp.
In fact, they put them both on the field at the same time, and Baker still beat him. Nick Chubb, of course, Kareem-Hunt. So is he's allowed to play in this game?
Yeah, he is allowed. I don't know whether he will or not, because he's missed a lot of time with injury.
Right.
But yeah, I think they can use him all the way up to the opening week of the season.
I hear you see the defense. Everybody raving about Garrett, the fact that he can play all over the field. He's like an additional superhero out there. And there you see the rest. Now, I really would like to see when we get to the linebackers. And there you have it. I'd love to see if Taki Taki's parents named him Ray Ray, like the Armstrongs did. Ray Taki Taki.
Ray Taki Taki.
Yeah.
That would be even more memorable than it is right now. The guys who've been out there a lot less are saying that Wilson and Taki Taki are both starting to really show why they were draft picks.
But you can't start two rookies.
No, and I don't think they will start to begin the season. But I think they're there in case of injury, and they can step in without it being too much of a.
All right. Do you think by opening day of the regular season that Greedy Williams takes over for Terrence Mitchell?
I think there's a possibility of it. The question you're going to have with Greedy Williams and Denzel-Ward, and listen, they're both great cover guys, and that's what corners are supposed to do, but neither one is the most physical guy, and as we saw last year with Denzel-Ward's injuries, you wonder if they're going to be able to stand up to a full season.
Lindsey Pipkins, was he the king of comedian, played by Jerry Lewis?
It might have been. It should have been if it wasn't.
There you see, all right, the special teams there. Britton Colquitt was on the radio today. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, I've
you ever
heard.
talked to him?
I know the guys that were going to interview him were excited because they said he's such a good.
All right, so should I just tell you what's going to happen with the place kicking situation?
Yeah.
I think Seibert will get beat out by Joseph, and then they'll bring in somebody who will beat out Greg Joseph.
So then I know it was the last pick of the 5th round, almost a 6th rounder, but they've just wasted a draft pick.
So what? If the guy can't kick.
Well, I understand. You wouldn't keep him for that reason.
You wouldn't keep him. Yeah.
But I just wonder if, I think they're going to give him every chance to get over. Like right now, I think he's got, I don't want to say emotionally scarred, but I think psychologically he's that golfer now who can't take the club back without thinking of it.
Well, you want that guy with the game on the line?
No, not right now, but it's also August 6th today.
Yeah.
They don't open for another month and 3 days. So I think he'll get another chance to see if he can kick in this league.
I'm just wondering.
Because he's a draft pick.
Yeah, because he's a draft. It's the Mark Lewis syndrome in baseball. Number one pick, you get to stay for 15 years. I just wonder what they saw in the guy. His record at Oklahoma was not good.
Yeah, there were other ways to drive competition, and by bringing in, those kickers are available all the time from other camps. And
remember when the Browns needed a new one? They had 5 in on Monday after the game.
Yeah, and they're available for a reason, I guess you could say. But I was still surprised that they went draft pick there, even though it was as late as it was in the draft.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw with us tomorrow night. Jeff Schudel, who covers everything around town. And Thursday night, I will be here in studio. Dave Bacon will be at Presque Isle at the casino and Presque Isle Downs and Casino. That's in Erie, Pennsylvania, just 20 miles from the Ohio border on Interstate 90. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. We've got Northfield Park, big doings in the whole month of August. You've got the Milstein Memorial. You've got the Myron Charna event, former president at Northfield Park, and all kinds of action and activity, all with big prizes, $500 in cash for the handicapping contest, and so much more. Food trucks all over the place starting at 6 o'clock going till 10 in the evening, and other games and other great prizes, all at Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. When we come back, Freddie Kitchen talks from training camp in Berea. More Sports and Les-Levine continues in a moment, exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at nick-chubb.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
I don't know yet. We're just trying to get through tomorrow.
Should fans expect to see Mayfield and Beckham at all?
I haven't decided.
What about the whole preseason in general? How much do you think the starting offense needs to play together, or do they get enough work in practice where that's secondary is how much work to get in the preseason?
Well, I think they definitely need to play together, and we'll monitor that as it goes along from the standpoint of their timing and stuff like that. I mean, our practices are pretty physical from that standpoint. So, we'll see. We'll monitor that, the relationship the receivers and the quarterback have together, their timing, stuff like that. So a lot of things factor into those questions, and I'm not trying to dismiss it. Some of it has to factor into who's available.
Will kickers alternate kicks or alternate games?
We haven't decided that yet.
The fact that you're practicing.
I'm not going to talk about what we're going to do in playing time yet.
The fact that you're practicing against the Colts though next week, will that be a factor?
That definitely factors into it. And you hit the nail on the head. Because we expect to have some physical, get better type practices with the Colts, and I'm pretty sure Frank wants the same thing. So, you've got to factor in all those things, and ultimately you want to get your guys. In September, you want to get them there healthy, but there's a fine line between getting them there healthy and getting them there battle hardened, battle tested for what's going to happen. Because, from this moment on, they're never going to feel perfect until February. So, we got to get used to playing like that.
How many hats do you think Freddie has?
He has at least 6 that have an elf on them, I think. So I'm not sure.
If you're not wearing orange and brown.
Yeah, so he's always wearing orange and brown.
Yeah, because Dorsey, they only gave him that one sweatshirt, I think.
You know what I like about, I'm seeing a lot of media guys on Twitter these days saying, don't play these guys at all in the preseason. Don't play them at all. I'm like, when did we get to that point? Was it wrong all those years when they played Kosar and whoever else, Tom Brady, anybody else in the preseason?
I'm trying to think of Kosar with Cleveland if he played most of the exhibition.
I'm not saying they should play whole games. you know, Freddie, I think, is aware that that fine line he just talked about between showing up healthy on September 9th and being ready to play. We have seen that this team has, what, 1-19 in season openers?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there?
No,
now,
not
that's
somewhere.
Not all
that's what it
because
is.
they sat, but there were a lot of times when they had quarterbacks in particular that weren't exactly proven players, and they didn't play them after the second or the first series of the third game of the preseason. They went a whole 3 weeks before they started the season, and they were not very good.
Right, and you talk about the OTAs and all that stuff, if everybody should show up or not because of camaraderie and getting to know each other's moves. Wouldn't you rather, given your choice, wouldn't you rather have the guys in a game in almost NFL conditions at an NFL stadium as opposed to out in Berea in front of a couple thousand fans?
Yeah, now you're gonna face more contact in these games, and I get it. And I think what he was trying to say there is that this thing this scrimmage that's happening with the Colts next week is complicating it, because they are going to have some physical practices in that game.
So what's complicating?
Well, do you want guys to have a whole quarter of physical football Thursday night, then practices against the Colts that'll be physical, then a game against the Colts that'll be physical?
Yeah,
so maybe he's just looking at who's really ready, who's not nicked up, and maybe make decisions based on that.
Okay, but the Browns last year were not a good tackling team.
No.
Statistically, they were near the bottom or at the bottom.
Yes, they were.
Wouldn't you think contact in games would maybe help them? Because how else do the Browns how does the front office or coaching staff know if these guys can really tackle or not?
Yeah, and I think we'll probably see, you know, more defensive guys. Although it sounds like the defensive line is kind of dealing with injuries right now, but I think we're going to see the linebackers. Schobert and Kirksey were part of that reason why they were not a great tackling team last year. So we'll probably see those guys more in the preseason in the first couple games than we will see some of the offensive players. Do you have to, you know, you could treat Odell-Beckham-Jr. and Baker-Mayfield differently than you might your defensive, your linebackers or your corners.
It's
so,
the Jordan rules.
Yeah, and that's not to say that they don't have to practice hard. I think they have been practicing hard. His camp, I think, has been a pretty strenuous camp. You don't see guys, you know, just sitting around. You don't see guys messing around that much. I think he's kept pretty true to what he said he was going to do last year.
You've seen a ton of camps over the years. Is there anyone did the Vermeil class when you were in Philadelphia? Were they gung ho all the time?
Oh yeah, and that was just a different time. I mean, now these guys aren't practicing twice a day. They were back then. Now, if they can't practice more than 5 days in a row because of the collective bargaining agreement. But you know, when Dick Vermeil came into Philadelphia, he inherited a team that, you know, had been terrible for a while, and he was trying to drive guys out that he didn't think were committed enough to be part of the program.
Right.
So those.
And did that work?
Yeah, it did. And
where does a guy like that go? Hopefully, gets picked up by somebody else.
They get picked up by somebody else. But he wanted those guys to be sort of examples to the rest of the team of, you know, these guys aren't hard workers. I know they're not, and now they're gone. So he drove a lot of guys out that way. And it took him, you know, 3 years to become a really good team, but he did.
The noise some of you may be hearing leads me to Bud Shaw, who has an announcement to make about the Indians.
Yes, it's raining outside here, so I think it's also raining downtown.
Right.
And the game against the Rangers to start, at least, has been delayed. I didn't see any word yet on when that might resume.
Just for a minute, since we're talking Indians, and we'll talk a little bit later more about them, but how big now is this 4-game series with Minnesota?
I think it's really big now, Les, because, you know, to think that they went from 11.5 down to 2, was it? Or 1? Was it 1 at one point?
No, it was 2. It was 3, then it got to 2, then it got back.
If they go into that series against Minnesota and it's 5 or 6 again, and they lose 1 or 2 of those, it's going to be hard to make that up again. You know, it's now we're pretty soon we're going to be halfway through August. And
we've been saying, well, they play each other 10 more times. Well, yeah, after this they'll play them 6 more times.
Yeah, and everybody who says that always says it with like this, you know, with the insinuation is that the Indians will win those games and make up
10
ground.
games.
Well, we've seen Minnesota has responded.
Yeah.
They're playing really well right now too, and they're going to be hard to catch.
Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame will open its doors to 6 new members coming up on Wednesday. September 18th at Landerhaven, that of course in Mayfield Heights. And Otis Chapman from racquetball, and John Malloy is a hockey guy, and Tony Miller, remember him from Marquette. And we continue on with Tom Lucci in the tennis category. Urban Meyer out of football, and Rob Moss from golf. But some people ask me, how could Urban Meyer get into the Greater Cleveland Sports Hall of Fame? And the answer is, it's a 5-county area, including Ashtabula County, which is where Urban is from.
I thought your answer was going to be that you're the MC, right?
Yes.
And you can put anybody in that you want.
Yes, I have one. It's sort of like the Ryder Cup.
You have one appointment, a captain's pick.
Tickets available at 216-241-1919 or admin at cleveland-sports-hall.com for ticket information, and tickets going fast once the word got out about Urban Meyer, who we are, you never know. You want to say that somebody might pull out and not be able to make it there, but we've been told that he will in fact be there.
Great.
216-575-0403. Don't forget on Thursday night, Dave Bacon will be out at the casino, the Presque Isle Downs and Casino. That's in Erie, Pennsylvania. 4 p.m. the ribbon cutting ceremony. They've got 50 kiosks that will take your bets. They're part of Bet America's sports wagering kiosk located throughout the casino floor. Grand opening celebration, and hard to believe that you'll just be able to. Didn't seem to be that much opposition to just saying, all right, let's start football gambling now.
Yeah, I think it's, in some people's minds, it's been a long time coming, and it was happening anyway.
Yeah, it was happening anyway. Anyway, we'll be out there to celebrate that opening. That'll be at 4 o'clock on Thursday, but Dave will join me on the show with special guests throughout the evening. Hanford Dixon from the Browns, and Lewis Lips, great receiver from the Steelers, Omar Marino from the We Are Family Pittsburgh Pirates, all coming up Thursday from 6 until 7, the grand opening of Presque Isle Downs and Casino. We'll come back in a moment. Bud Shaw is with us. Jeff Shudell will be here Wednesday night. We'll take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. More Sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
I talked to Stump, he came in and watched all of my film. Me, of course, I've already watched it. And his big thing was I was 4 years short of 1,000 yards. And so, he kind of picked where he thought maybe I could have got him. And I had already seen it. I was already aware of the situation. But, just knowing that I could have done some things a little better last year.
Was it 1 yard? Was it 1 yard here and there, or a couple?
Nah, it was one play. Maybe, it would have been a big run. I missed, but.
What game was that? Do you remember?
Steelers game. I think my first carry.
You had that 1,000 yards, and then you lost. Was that just non-edge, or did that matter, or?
I like to have something to fight for and go into the off season. So, motivation.
I think Nick wants to be very, very good. Is it unusual? Yes, I think it is. But I think we need more people like Nick. Of course, he's going to be critical. And you know what? That tells you that every rep to him matters. He's going to remember something a year ago. Was he talking about the preseason?
He was talking about the Pittsburgh game, the opener, his very first carry.
Yeah.
So it could have been a big one.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the first preseason game could have too. You can dig him on that one.
He could have had 1,000 if he had busted that one.
Well, let me tell you something about Nick Chubb. All right, and this sums it up for him. He went over 1,000 yards. All right, and then the next carry was a loss of 3 or 4. I don't remember the specifics. It's a loss of 3 or 4. Not a word was mentioned about it. Not a word. And I even apologized to him. But not a word was mentioned about going up under 1,000 after he had 1,000. So, you know, that tells you where Nick Chubb is and what he's here for, and how he approaches the game and what the game is about for him. It's about winning. It's about winning a championship. It's about putting yourself in the best position possible to succeed individually and then collectively as a team.
A slog.
Well, there you have it. The running backs, if they're all going to be there, you got Chubb and Duke Johnson and Kareem-Hunt.
Nick Chubb is I think he's quickly become a favorite of those players on that team. He's an understated guy. He doesn't make a show about anything.
Just goes and does his work.
What Kitchens just said was dead on. You know, he gets his 1,000 yards, gets another carry, loses 4. And for some guys, that 1,000-yard thing is big to them.
Right.
He never even said a word about it. Like he wouldn't
didn't say, like, give me the darn ball
give me it
again,
you know, or anything, you know. So
do we have a play that goes 5 yards in the book?
was always for the idea not only of drafting a running back later in that draft as opposed to number 4.
Okay.
Remember we were talking, people said, take Saquon Barkley 1 and then you'll still get Mayfield at 4 or whatever, right? They were in the same.
That's what they were talking,
Yeah. But knowing Chubb was there, and what, you know, I used to work in Atlanta, and what the people that I knew in the SEC were talking about, they thought he was fantastic, and turned out he
Would you feel
was.
better if Hunt was able to play from the beginning with that rotation?
I mean, it's going to be a pretty formidable duo. You know, feel better from a standpoint of their chances of making the postseason.
Do you need 3? Yeah, I mean, do you need 3 running backs to be successful?
Well, I mean, we know it's
considering the rest of the offense that they have.
I think you can get by with 2 good running backs, given the fact that you're so deep at wide receiver right now, and you're pretty good at tight end. We think. Do we think?
I don't know. You know, Pharaoh Brown is being talked about as a guy who could make this team.
Well,
Pharaoh Brown from Brush, and Brush has never had. Not that this
they
matters.
Certainly need a backup to Njoku, right?
Well, but I mean, the word on Brown is that he can't catch at all, but he's a terrific blocker.
Well, I mean, we know from what Freddie told us earlier that he calls himself old school, and by that he means, you know, it's football, he says, is blocking and tackling.
Right.
Now, we also know what football is in 2019, and it's a lot more
blocking,
than that.
Tackling, and throwing bombs.
Yeah, but I think we're going to see, he certainly didn't, Chubb's profile didn't go down when Freddie started calling plays last year. We're going to see a lot of them.
The great Paul Warfield was on 92.3 The Fan this morning, and he averaged, with that team with Bob Greasy, who didn't throw long, and they had a big running game, he averaged 20 yards of reception. In today's game, what do you give him, 27 yards, 28
I heard
yards?
Our friend Tony Grossi make that same point this morning on radio, and he said that's why you can't really judge Warfield by number of catches, but when you see that. I forget how he referred to him. He thought he was maybe the most stylistic burner in the history of the league.
He's so smooth.
And you saw him. I didn't
see him.
Really see him.
I saw him in college, actually, and he didn't play much on offense, believe it or not. He was a defensive back. And the Browns drafted him. Blanton Collier was in charge at that point. Paul Brown was gone. And they didn't know what they drafted him for. They didn't know if they drafted him as a wide receiver or a defensive back. And they took him out to Berea High School or somewhere, and they threw a few pass patterns, and they said, this is over.
We know
have a nice lunch.
We know what we want to do now.
We have our defensive, we have our running, our catcher.
Is that at Stonewater at one of those golf outings a number of years ago, where they call up people like us celebrities and we play with a group.
Right.
Well, I was in a group behind Paul Warfield and in front of Mike Hargrove. and we all got to one the same tee box.
Well,
once.
sure, Hargrave's doing with the glove and the whole
the group I was with was very disappointed that they got me and not Warfield or
Hargrave. Paid $2,000 to play.
Exactly. So
let's see, you want Warfield,
I just tried to keep my head down
Shaw?
and look elsewhere. But Warfield,
you know what though?
Couldn't have been a nicer guy.
I was going to say, I wasn't in the media at that time, but if you ask me the nicest guy I've run across in all the years in all the sports, Paul Warfield might be that guy.
Yeah, I've heard the same.
216-575-0403. And by the way, while he was here, he was
Wiley?
while
Bob
he was
Wiley.
here,
Okay.
he was the weekend sports guy on Channel 3.
I didn't know that
You're
either.
following in his steps, being with Channel 3.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Is that right?
He was attempting to be a sportscaster when it was all said and done.
Well, that's when those guys all needed another job, right?
Yeah, yeah. And the amount of pay, as you know, is astronomical. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Email us during the show at real-les-levine@gmail.com. Sokolowski's University Inn, nothing better than that place. That's what I get paid to do this show. I get a pierogi at Sokolowski's. Bud takes family members when they come in from out of town. He takes them there. It's Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant located in Fremont, 5 minutes out of downtown. Take the Abbey Avenue exit 5 minutes from downtown. That's where you're going to find it. Swing under the bridge. It's established in 1923. I think we've talked about this. It's University Inn University Avenue is the name of the street. When Cleveland was set up back in the day, where what is now the University Circle was actually supposed to be in Fremont, and that's why you have Professor Avenue and Literary and University and all that. But it's the winner of the James Beard Foundation Award. They won it about 4 years ago. Only 5 restaurants in the country get it each and every year. When we come back, we'll look at some of the results of our Facebook question of the day. How come quickies from you viewers coming also? More Sports and Les-Levine continues in a moment exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
But let's take a look at this date in sports history. August 6, 1952, Satchel Paige becomes the oldest at the age of 42 to throw a complete game shutout as the St. Louis Browns beat the Detroit Tigers 1-0 in 12 innings. He was with the St. Louis Browns, which became the Baltimore Orioles. So if your name is the Browns, watch out from anybody named who says they come from Baltimore.
Yeah, no kidding. He pitched all 12 innings.
Yeah.
So what's more impressive, him doing that or Vince Carter coming back at age 42 for one more season with the Hawks?
Well, Vince only has an 82-game season. He's
True. And that's
This is 1 year before. A year before that is when Eddie Gaedel starred for the St. Louis Browns.
Huh.
So he's coming. So what's more impressive, him or Vince Carter or I don't know, Tom Brady?
Yeah, I know it's a different sport, but to play in the NBA for any amount of minutes at age 42 is pretty amazing.
This date in Les-Levine history, August 6, 1997, Les gets on a flight to Atlanta, tells them to send one bag to Chicago, the other to Miami. Told that they couldn't do that, Les says, well, you did it last week.
You know, some of these seem like they're loosely based on fact. Is that a,
was that one of them?
Is that a fair comment?
Was that one of them?
Yes.
All right. Let's take a look at our Facebook question of the day, which is fact. Which Indians player is the key to catching the Twins?
Oh, interesting.
Andy, who do you say?
I would say Jose Ramirez.
Jose Ramirez. Just keep doing what he's doing.
If he keeps doing what he's doing, I like their chances.
How come Andy Mee says the production of Jason Kipnis helps to lengthen the bottom third of the lineup and it'll take the pressure off the young pitching staff to pitch perfectly. Since Kip has started doing well, the whole dynamic of the Indians has changed. Same can be said about Jose Ramirez.
Yeah.
Glenn Berger says Jose Ramirez is bad as needed as many times as possible. The Indians' offense is not productive. It was not last night when Jose is at the top of his game. There aren't many pitchers who can stop him. Dennis Davis says Kluber. Interesting choice.
Yeah.
Rick May, a healthy Corey Kluber would be a step in the right direction. Carmen Tolino says Kluber healthy and pitching like he did last year. Angelo Costanzo says not one player but the entire bullpen. Mark Jelisic says not sure they're going to, Les. I think what you see is what you get, and it doesn't look like the Twinkies are going away. Plus, check the last couple of weeks of their schedule. It could end up like a 13-0 run. Yeah?
Yeah, well...
it's not supposed to be easy.
Yeah, and maybe catching the Twins, we'll know here in another 2 weeks whether that's feasible or not. But you can get in otherwise.
Yeah, you can make a run at Minnesota. Then you got Boston, who you can effectively just knock out of any potential playoff
But I
spot.
think the Kluber answer is a good one because I look at this rotation now without Bauer, and it still feels like they're going to need something from somebody that's not there yet.
I said this the other night.
I've written off Salazar. I'm not going to fall into that trap again.
All right, I said this the other night. The more I watch Bieber, there's one guy I think of, that his motion and everything else, Jim Palmer. Take a look next time. You remember Palmer, the way he would sling that ball?
Yeah, I
Take
like
a look
it.
next time.
I said when they traded Bauer that that if I had to give, before they traded Bauer, if I had to give the ball to a pitcher to win one game, it would be Bieber.
Bieber
and
over
people
Bauer.
said, oh, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Clevenger's got more experience.
Yeah.
Bauer's got more experience, and he's got good stuff too. But I don't think Bieber is going to back up to anytime soon. I think he's going to keep pitching at this level.
Let's go to Bill, who's in North Olmsted. Bill, good evening. Bud Shaw with us. Go ahead.
So good to talk to you guys. How you two veterans doing, the health-wise and all?
Us two veterans? We've been called veterans?
Yes.
We have. I've been called worse.
It's good to talk to you, Les.
You too, Bill.
Same here, Bill.
One of the things that you just mentioned, Bieber, because I had seen a little bit of Jim Palmer in him, but I also see he does a little bit of rocking like Clevenger does, which I haven't seen any other pitcher do to the extent that he does. And that guy is good. We got to try to find him long term.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of factors involved, but I'd like to go back to what you were saying about the old timers and what was the more fantastic, whether it be Vince Carter or Satchel Paige. But let's not forget Minnie Minoso trying to hit a fastball at 57 years old or whatever he was when he last batted. I thought that was pretty remarkable.
Yeah. I don't even compare that Vince Carter to. I heard the argument on radio today. Vince Carter to Tom Brady. I don't know. Tom Brady's expected to carry the league, let alone 15, 17 minutes a game.
I just think from an athletic standpoint,
it's pretty
people
good.
are amazed that you can still play in the NBA. But I would say this too: it is a little easier now. Guys like him can drive around and get their shot without being hand checked and everything that used to go on.
How old will LeBron be when he hangs him up?
Oh my! Well, I think he'll come back to Cleveland for his last year, and that may be his son's ready to play.
I don't want to do a show that night if that happens.
You don't want him back. Les is down on. Les wants no part of LeBron coming back.
Right.
Even if it's to be part of a team that has a chance of winning a title.
Oh, you didn't tell me that part.
Oh, okay.
Well, hey, getting back to your what's more important, what player is most important for the rest of the way, let me ask you a question. Has the improvement in Roberto Perez exceeded the disappointment to this date with how Jose Ramirez has declined, which has been the biggest differential?
It's a good question. I don't think anybody saw Perez doing what he's been doing.
No, I didn't think he'd last the whole year at that level.
Well, it looked like last year he had put put on quite a bit of weight, and I don't know what his weight is or anything like that, but he seems like he's getting around on pitches a lot better.
I'll tell you,
and hitting the ball more frequently.
Yeah. Other than Tomey, who was as strong to left center as he was to right center, I think you got a case with Perez. I don't recall that many home runs to left field.
Yeah, he hits a lot of them to right center and right.
Well, the thing that's bothering me about Ramirez, and I know he had turned it around, and you heard all the dialogue on that, but it seems about the last 5-6 games, I see a little bit of old Jose coming back in. That is, taking a fastball for strike one, then flailing a little bit, and
I also sense he had a hitch in his shoulder that I don't see in the last couple of weeks. Again, feel free, Tito, feel free if you need an assistant batting coach, feel free to call me. I'm not doing anything tonight.
Or bunting coach. Well, no.
Or bunting coach.
You don't want any part of the bunt. What did you think of that play, Bill?
I'm sure it was talked about today. Should Naquin have put down the bunt?
That's what we were discussing.
The one thing I think is missing in baseball, my absolute favorite play is the suicide squeeze. And I thought they had it perfectly set up with the best bunter on the team when Kipnis came up. And, fairly fast guy at third base. And I don't know.
I think maybe if it's a tie game, I think about doing that. I didn't like the situation down a run.
Yeah. Well, we got to score more.
I'll tell you what. I was surprised that Naquin actually got. I was surprised Naquin actually got that bunt down. He's not a very good bunter normally.
He's not a very good bunter. He's sort of like Greg Allen. He comes up in a situation and you don't expect him to get it down. I agree with you on that.
Right. All right, Bill. We got to move along. How come quickies are burning my hand?
Is Clay Matthews ever going to get in the Hall of Fame?
Well, they're going to have 20 next year, right?
Yeah. I know
he needed a Super Bowl game.
Yeah. I know from talking with Grossi, who has a vote, that he felt the same way, that there just wasn't that culmination of a career there team-wise.
But what did he have, 19 years?
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's as good as Vince Carter.
It's nice to see him get honored here, though. And
and his son will be here.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Bill, we got to go. Thanks for the call. How come quickies when we get back? We'll take a break. More Sports and Les-Levine continues. Live and simulcast racing. The home, of course, is Northfield Park, and they've got racing at 6 p.m. with the post time. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And this Saturday, big doings. The Myron Charna event, that's a longtime president of Northfield Park, a big race there. The biggest of them all coming up with the Carl Milstein Memorial, and that's coming up on Saturday. Games and food trucks and chances to win plenty of cash, all at Northfield Park this Saturday, where it's free admission, free parking every day. We'll come back in a moment. Bud Shaw is with us. More Sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of August and save up to 50%. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at nick-chubb.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program has been recognizing role model students and teachers since 2007. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Supporting Education. There, you can nominate students in kindergarten through 12th grade as academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as the Teacher of the Month. Every school that participates is eligible for the School of the Year. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, Jeff Shudell will join us, and he, of course, covers everybody in town. You see us live from 6 until 7, Monday through Friday. Then Of course, you can archive it any time of the day or night. Go back and find some old shows. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine, with new content posted each and every day. All right, Bud, it's my favorite time of the show, which is usually...
That makes one of us.
Which is usually Thursday at 7. It's my favorite part of the show. All right, you ready for How Come Quickies?
I suppose.
All right, I'm going to tell you this. Some are very good, some are very good. You be the judge and let me know which ones I meant.
All right.
All right. Raymond Pierce. How come nothing in life is a real big deal unless it's ace, king, queen, jack, and 10, all of the same suits? Poker reference.
It's a guy with a gambling problem. I'll give him a 7.5.
All right.
Do I have to hold those up, or?
How about this from Big Ed, who's coming on strong lately? Big Ed says, how come you never read the headline, Psychic Wins Lottery? Right? Good? 9.0. Excellent.
I like it.
I'm going to give it away. This is the one that's really good.
Oh.
How come when people ask you what 3 things would you bring to a desert island, nobody says a boat?
That's sort of understood. Okay.
No, it isn't. No, nobody says, I'll take a boat.
9.1.
9.1. Okay. Mr. Gullible, who's on a road trip, says, how come
Is there any other kind of trip?
No.
Okay.
How come the shovel is a groundbreaking invention? This one I don't get.
That's pretty strong. You know why that's strong?
Why?
Because it's a quickie, sir. It
is a quickie.
It's very
All
quick.
right, help me out on this one. How come I thank my dad for explaining the word many, because now it means a lot to me?
Is that Mr. Gullible too?
Yeah.
All right.
9-3 combination.
9-3 combination.
Excellent.
How many more are there? Because I'm running out of paper.
One more. He sent that one from Puget Sound, because he's on a baseball trip covering as many stadiums as he can.
Well, then I'll give him a 9-4.
Oh, 9-4 because it's a baseball
he's
team.
taking time.
And he's not watching. All right, it's No Pun Tuesday from John Patrick.
He knows. He gets it.
How come Fred Flintstone's feet are covered by health insurance and car insurance?
All right,
Come on.
You know what? That's one that, like, a couple times with him,
you got to picture Fred.
Yeah, a couple times with him, I've thought, wait a second, he must have read that somewhere. This one,
this one comes from the heart
of originality to me. So I'm going to go.
Oh my God, a 9-1, a 9-4, and a 9-5 all on the same night.
That's right. But there still is yet to be.
That was tough for Big Ed to come in on the same night.
Yeah, there's yet to be a 10 on this.
We're getting closer.
This show.
Raymond, I think that was the full house or the straight flush, royal flush.
The big
bad
deal.
Night.
The big deal.
Yeah, I mean that's a bad night to bring that one in.
Yeah,
you got to know your opponents.
You know, it's you're running with the big dogs, right?
Let's see, it's No Pun Tuesday. Bud is there. I better leave this one out. All right, you have a final comment for the evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for being here. No,
Tip your waitresses on the way out.
I'm glad that they're finally getting to the point where we can see more of the Browns' offensive skill players in a game situation,
right.
Because I think that's what everybody's so excited about. You know,
unfortunately for people who bought tickets, you won't see much of them game 1, and you certainly won't see much at the home game is game 4, right?
Yeah, right. The next home game will be 4, so mostly it'll be, I would think, in that third game, which is the 23rd or something like that.
Something like that. All right, that'll do it for us. Great job by Bud Shaw. You can hear him, see him, read him at WKYC.com. We appreciate his efforts. And tomorrow night, Jeff Shudell will join us. Thursday night, we'll have Dave Bacon out at Presque Isle Downs and Casino. That'll do it for us. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.